You could be surrounded by water and still die of thirst. That's not a paradox, that's reality. Across history, men and women pushed into the wilderness, settlers, frontiersmen, survivors, faced that exact truth when wilderness water purification meant life or death. And they didn't have a filter straw from Amazon. They didn't have a UV pen or a purification tablet. What they had was knowledge. Old, hard-won, field-tested knowledge that's been quietly gathering dust while we filled our bug-out bags with gear we've never used. Today, we're cracking that open. 10 frontier water hacks that modern preppers have almost completely forgotten. Some of these will surprise you. A couple will genuinely save your life one day, especially when contaminated with Giardia or Cryptosporidium. Let's go. Number 10. The Willow Branch Tell. Before frontier settlers ever pulled out a shovel or cupped their hands in a stream, they read the land. And one of the most reliable signs of underground water? Willows, cottonwoods, cattails. These plants don't grow in dry soil. Their root systems are addicted to moisture, and they chase it deep underground where most of us would never think to look. Native American guides taught early settlers to follow these tree lines, not just to rivers, but to where the land dips, where the vegetation clusters and darkens, where the green refuses to give way to brown. In flat, arid country, a line of willows snaking across the landscape is almost always pointing you toward a hidden water source beneath the surface. Modern preppers obsess over water storage. Frontier survivors obsessed over water detection. Learn the difference. It could mean everything. Number 9. Solar still, but done right. You've probably heard of the solar still. Dig a hole, lay plastic over it, put a rock in the middle, collect condensation. Simple enough. The problem is, most people who try it in a real survival situation get it wrong and walk away thinking it doesn't work. Here's what the old field manuals and frontier equivalents actually said. The still only produces meaningful water if you pack the hole with cut vegetation, green leaves, cactus flesh, any moist plant matter you can find. Without that, in dry terrain, you're just making a plastic tent over dead soil. The second trick is timing. The still works hardest between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. when solar intensity is at its peak. Frontier survivors who understood the sun's arc knew to have their still dug and covered before that window, not scrambling to set it up at noon. Preparation beats reaction every single time. Number 8.5. The Transpiration Bag Method. Here's one that perfectly complements the solar still but gets overlooked entirely. The transpiration bag. Tie a clear plastic bag around a leafy tree branch, seal it tight, and let the tree do the work. As the leaves transpire, essentially sweating moisture through their pores, that water vapor condenses inside the bag. In the right conditions, a single bag can collect a cup of potable water in 6 to 8 hours. The water is generally clean because it's distilled through the plant's natural filtration system. Combine this with a solar still, and you've got 2 passive water collection systems working while you handle other survival priorities. Number 8. The charcoal pre-filter. Long before ceramic filters or hollow fiber membranes existed, frontier travelers were using something that was always close at hand, the remnants of their own campfire. Charcoal. Not ash, charcoal. The dark, incompletely burned wood from the heart of a cooled fire, packed tightly into a piece of cloth, a hollowed-out green bamboo section, or even a tin cup with a hole punched in the bottom. Charcoal acts as a crude but surprisingly effective pre-filter. It strips out heavy sediment through sedimentation, reduces taste and odor, and begins pulling some biological contaminants from the water before it's boiled or treated. This doesn't replace boiling, but in a multi-stage frontier water system, this was step 1, and it meant that whatever came out the other end was cleaner, clearer, and safer. Today's preppers skip this step entirely because they trust their gear. Frontier survivors trusted their process. Number 7. Morning dew collection. There's a brief window every morning, just after sunrise, when the landscape is essentially sweating. Dew settles on grass, leaves, rock faces, and low-lying vegetation across almost every climate on Earth. And the old frontiersmen knew exactly how to harvest it. The method is almost embarrassingly simple. Take a clean cloth, an old shirt, a piece of canvas, and drag it low across the grass in wide, slow arcs. The cloth absorbs the dew, and you wring it into a container. Experienced practitioners could gather a liter of water in under 30 minutes this way on a good morning. In a situation where your water supply is critically low, that liter could be the difference between clear thinking and the first stages of dehydration setting in. Dew is generally clean too. It's condensed atmospheric moisture, not groundwater, though filtering it never hurts. And when rain catchment isn't possible, dew collection becomes your primary atmospheric water source. Modern preppers rarely mention this. The frontier generation lived by it. Number 6. The boiling time myth. Here's one that might challenge what you think you know. Most people believe you need to boil water for at least 10 minutes to make it safe. That belief is so widespread it's almost become gospel in prepper communities. But it's wrong, and the frontier practitioners got this one right. At sea level, water reaches 100 degrees Celsius. The pathogens that threaten your life, Giardia, Cryptosporidium, bacteria, most viruses, are killed almost instantly at that temperature. The CDC and WHO both recommend a rolling boil for 1 minute at sea level, 3 minutes above 6,500 feet for complete purification. Why does this matter in a survival context? Because fuel is precious. Wood takes time to gather. Energy is finite. The frontier traveler who knew they needed one good rolling boil, not a prolonged simmer, conserved resources that might carry them another 2 days on the trail. Efficiency isn't laziness, it's survival mathematics. Number 5. Cattail, the frontier water indicator and filter. The cattail is one of the most remarkable survival plants ever to grow in temperate wilderness. Most modern preppers know you can eat it, the pollen, the shoots, the starchy root. What many have forgotten is its role in the water story. Cattails grow almost exclusively in shallow, slow-moving or still water, marshes, wetland edges, pond borders. Finding a stand of cattails in unfamiliar territory is a near-certain signal that accessible fresh water is close, sometimes inches below the muddy surface between the stalks. But here's the older trick. Cattail root fibers, when pounded and packed, were used by indigenous groups as a crude but functional filtration medium, similar in concept to the charcoal method. Water pressed slowly through tightly packed cattail fiber mat comes out visibly cleaner and lower in sediment. Combine it with boiling, and you have a legitimate 2-stage frontier purification system made entirely from what the land offers. No packaging, no instructions, no batteries. Number 4. Reading rock for hidden springs. This one requires the most practice, but it's arguably the most powerful skill on this entire list. Rock tells stories, and to a trained frontier eye, it tells water stories constantly. Dark staining on cliff faces, particularly the reddish-brown oxidized streaking or the greenish algae lines, usually indicates seep water, underground moisture finding its way through porous rock to the surface. This might not produce a rushing stream, but in arid conditions, even a slow seep collected over hours can fill a container. Limestone country is especially productive. Limestone is soluble. Water carves through it over centuries, creating hidden channels and underground reservoirs. Depressions in limestone plateaus, caves, and shadowed overhangs in canyon walls were the hunting grounds of frontier guides looking for water when all visible streams had run dry. Mountain men didn't read maps for water. They read geology for signs of the water table beneath their feet. That instinct has been almost entirely replaced by GPS waypoints and cached water sources. Learning even the basics of rock reading could pull you out of an impossible situation in dry, rugged terrain. Number 3. The Zeer pot cooling system. When refrigeration didn't exist, Frontier and indigenous cultures around the world independently discovered the same physics principle, evaporative cooling. In hot, dry climates, exactly the kind where water is scarcest, this technique could keep boiled water cooler and safer for longer. The principle is simple. Take two containers, place one inside the other with wet sand packed between them. As the moisture in the sand evaporates, it pulls heat away from the inner container. The result is a significant temperature drop inside, sometimes 15 to 20 degrees cooler than the surrounding air. This pot-in-pot system has been used for over 4,000 years. Cooler water slows bacterial regrowth after boiling. It reduces the urgency to drink hastily from an unsafe source simply because you're hot and desperate. And psychologically, cold water in a survival situation does something that warm water can't. It lifts morale, sharpens focus, reminds you that you're thinking ahead of the situation rather than reacting to it. Frontier survivors didn't just find water, they managed it. Number 2, the bark vessel and sap tap. This one goes deep into the frontier toolkit, and it's perhaps the most forgotten of everything on this list. In the forests of North America and Northern Europe, early settlers and indigenous peoples understood that trees bleed, and that bleed can keep you alive. Birch sap, in early spring when the sap rises during the first weeks of March, runs freely from shallow cuts in the bark. It's mostly water, lightly sweet, mineral-rich, and broadly safe to drink in moderate quantities. A single mature birch can yield several liters of sap per day during peak flow season. Maple does the same. Sycamore produces lesser but still usable quantities. The second element of this hack is the bark vessel itself. Birch bark, folded and held with notch joints or simple pins, makes a watertight vessel that can hold liquid and, with care, can even be used briefly over a very low flame. Frontier travelers caught without containers have used birch bark to boil water in emergencies, a skill so specific it barely exists in modern prepper literature. The forest is not empty, it's a water system, if you know how to read it. Number 1, know your direction, know your water. Every skill on this list is powerful, but none of them work if you don't understand this fundamental piece of frontier thinking. Water flows downhill, and the sun determines where water lives. In the northern hemisphere, north-facing slopes receive less direct sunlight. That means less evaporation. That means moisture lingers longer in the soil, in rock crevices, in vegetation. Springs and seeps are dramatically more common on north-facing terrain. Frontier scouts, moving through unknown country, instinctively shifted to north-facing slopes when water was their priority. Combined with the knowledge that valleys channel water from miles of surrounding terrain, and that most water tables sit closest to the surface in low-lying, shaded, vegetated ground, you have a mental map that works anywhere on Earth, without a single piece of equipment. This is the master skill, the one that underlies all the others. The frontier survivors who lived long, productive lives in wild country weren't always the strongest or the best equipped. They were the ones who understood the landscape well enough that the land fed them information constantly, water included. That knowledge is still there. It's just waiting to be remembered. 10 hacks. One common thread: observation, patience, and the kind of working knowledge that no amount of gear can replace. The frontier generation didn't prep with products, they prepped with understanding. And in a world that's growing more uncertain by the year, that might be exactly the kind of thinking worth picking back up. If this video added something to your knowledge base, hit subscribe. We've got a lot more of this kind of content coming. Old skills, new context, the stuff that actually matters when it counts. Stay sharp, stay curious. We'll see you in the next one.